What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster-in-chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you with an episode of Budget Magic. For the first time, we haven't really advertently ever done something like this on the channel. And I know I've been getting some comments here and there from my subscribers that, not everybody has all the mythics and all the rares from the new set so soon. So I thought it might be time to just do a couple of episodes like this with a little bit more budget oriented brews. First of all, before we dive into tonight's brew, let me just apologize for yesterday. My son ran past my desk, tripped over the microphone cable, sent the whole thing ripping out of my USB. Fortunately, no damage on the laptop, but the cable was destroyed, and it just happened at a time during the day when there was no way I could wrangle a new one from anywhere. So we're back. Sorry about the break, but we're back with some fresh brews. And without further ado, let's jump right into it, shall we? Budget Magic. Went 7-2 in a standard event with this deck a few days ago, for those of you who missed my Twitter post. So I felt that this was actually pretty good for a budget deck. And I'm calling it Trashifacts. And it's an artifact deck featuring a full playset of the Patchwork Automaton. But there's a couple of other spicy things in the deck which I'd like to unleash on you, unveil. So let's take it from the top, as I always do. I'll break down the deck, explain to you why it is that I picked the card, how it is that it synergizes with the other cards in the deck, and what some of the play lines and interactions are that you might come across. Then we'll jump into some gameplay footage where hopefully I'll get to show off as many of those play lines and interactions for you against some opponents, and then we'll jump back in at the end with my final thoughts, overall deck review, and if we do make some modifications to the deck along the way, then usually that's when I talk about them, so stick around to the end. Right, so we've got only a couple of new cards from Streets of New Capenna. The first one is the Goldhound, which is an artifact creature token, treasure dog. Artifact creature treasure dog, which is great, of course, if you're playing the automaton, because whenever you cast an artifact spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it also can help you ramp a little bit into your, turn 3, turn 4 stuff a little early. And that's not it as far as synergies, because, if the name hasn't given it away already, as well as the deck box cover, we're running a full playset of this card, which you've probably never seen before, the Runaway Trash-Bot, which it gets +1/+0 for each artifact and or enchantment card in your graveyard. So if you do sacrifice the Goldhound, once you've already gotten the value off of it, which is generally just making the Patchwork Automaton bigger, then you just sacrifice it for mana. It ends up in your graveyard. That's gonna help your Runaway Trash-Bot get bigger once it eventually hits the battlefield. And the cool thing about the Runaway Trash-Bot is that it has Trample, which is quite nice. So there's a lot of this going on in the deck where we're like either advertently or inadvertently putting artifacts and or enchantments into the graveyard, so that once we do eventually cast the Runaway Trash-Bot, it just gets a little bit beefier and we can potentially get through for some big damage with the trample. So Goldhound filling many roles in the deck. Then Kumano faces Kakkazan, of course, like usually if you were running just like a pure artifact deck that was trying to focus entirely around the automaton, this might have been something like the Ronin guy, the samurai that bounces back to your hand every turn, might have been the better choice. But because we've got a little bit of like cross synergies here with the enchantments needing to end up in the graveyard, and just because it's such a freaking nice card, I think Kumano fits the deck better. And, dropping a Patchwork Automaton on turn 2 when the second chapter of Kumano faces Kakkazan triggers is great, because usually you have to wait till turn 3 to then start casting additional artifacts on top of your automaton, and so it sits on the board with 1 life. It does have Ward 2, which does, help it survive until turn 3, turn 4, and what have you, but it coming into play as a 2/2 instead of a 1/1 on turn 2 definitely helps that out. Sometimes the opponent is so terrified of the automaton on turn 3, they just like do an X is 1 me took massacre and gets rid of your automaton. So that can sort of mitigate something like that, which is quite nice. And then, you know, if they do kill it, eventually, then it'll end up in the yard, and that'll just help our Trash-Bot get bigger when it comes down. Then we've got a full playset of the Rabbit Battery, which is, of course, again, an artifact creature, so it's going to help us with the automaton. And again, this could have maybe been the Ronin guy, but I'd rather give a creature that just hits the battlefield haste by reconfiguring the Rabbit Battery onto it for the cheap cost of 1, plus the nice little +1/+1 buff that it gets, rather than having, you know, the upside of the Ronin is that channel ability that draws you a card, but this deck really just wants to get games done pretty quickly. There's not too much card draw, but there is some, which we're getting to. But the Rabbit Battery fits the deck perfectly, in my opinion, and a nice little hasty 1-drop if you don't have something else instead. Then, second and only other new card from Streets of New Capenna, we're finally playing with Sticky Fingers, which is a little incredible package for 1 mana. Kind of overlooked this card. Enchantment Aura, so you enchant one of your creatures, it gains Menace. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you make a treasure token, and when it dies, you draw a card. So just like incredible, actually, value for the cheap cost that it is. Putting this on an automaton is, of course, great, and there's plenty of other nice targets for it, but I tend to try and stick it onto the automaton, and giving it menace on top of everything else we could potentially give it with the lizard blades and things is quite freaking nice. And again, once it dies, it's another artifact that's enchantment that's in the yard that's going to help our Runaway Trash-Bot get bigger. Then we do have some removal. Voltage Surge makes perfect sense in this deck because we do have some artifacts that we're okay to sacrifice. Again, helping us to grow the Trash-Bot, and namely the Iron Apprentice over here, which enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Also, a really good play on the chapter 2, on the second lore counter of Kumano faces Kakkazan. If you don't have a better turn to play like the automaton or what have you, then dropping an Iron Apprentice on that chapter makes it come into play with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So then if you do end up sacrificing it to a Voltage Surge so that you can do the full 4 damage instead of 2, then you get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on probably the automaton, but it also could be nice to put them onto the Trash-Bot, thus making a really big trampler. So we've got the Iron Apprentice that we can sack to the Voltage Surge. We can also potentially just sack a Goldhound or whatever else that's lying about. That's not too important. You know, Rabbit Battery, sure, it's good. If you've got like 2 or 3 of them on the board, it's okay to get rid of one of them. And just being able to do 4 damage to creature or planeswalker for 1 mana is quite spectacular especially at instant speed. So that's our 1 removal spell of choice. And I've touched upon the Iron Apprentice already. Of course, it's also an artifact, so it's going to trigger all of our stuff. And then once it dies, because we're sacrificing it to Voltage Surge, going to make the Trash-Bot bigger. Then, on to the 2-drops. We've got 1 Lizard Blades, 3 Ogre-Head Helms. The original version of the deck just had 4 Ogre-Head Helms. We might end up just going back to it because honestly, I mean, the double strike is obviously fantastic, but the card draw that I was talking about, other than the Sticky Fingers dying, is the Ogre-Head Helm. I don't need to say much about Lizard Blades. I mean, it's just an equipment that gives double strike. It's fantastic. It's quite easy to get rid of, unfortunately, because of 1 toughness and all that jazz, but it's just got a really nice cheap reconfigure cost. Gives double strike. Love Lizard Blades. If there was anything I would cut, maybe I would make space by doing so to fit in an additional copy of Lizard Blades. But for now, I'm okay with this split. If we ever just top deck it in the late game, it's easy to reconfigure, put it on the Trash-Bot with the trample, boom, boom, boom. Double strike trample is obviously fantastic. But the Ogre-Head Helm is great. Little bit overlooked, like exactly how to best play this. And then I must be honest, I watched another content creator, I believe his name is Red Cat. He put up a deck quite similar to this on his channel, and he was going on and on about this card, and I finally kind of got it, especially in conjunction with the Trash-Bot. Because when it gets in for damage, you sacrifice the creature that it's equipped to, or if it's not equipped to anything, you sacrifice it. And then you discard your hand, draw 3 cards. This is the type of deck where, we've got a 1.7 average mana value. You dump your hand really quickly. And so there isn't anything to discard usually at that point. So you're just drawing 3 cards. And if it is something to discard, maybe it doesn't really matter. It could just be something like a land or a useless 1-drop that you don't really need. And just being able to draw 3 cards and refuel is fan-freaking-tastic with the Ogre-Head Helm, as well as giving a creature +2/+2, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, the reconfigure is 3. I wish it was 2, but that's okay. And it is, of course, also an artifact, so it will trigger our automaton. And once we do sacrifice it to draw the 3 cards, it will make the Trash-Bot bigger. Triple synergies, fan-freaking-tastic. Last card in the 2-drop slot, Patchwork Automaton, full play set. We've seen it before. I love this card, and I've said it before. I will keep on saying it. The next 2 sets coming in standard in September, I believe, and then later in the year, December, I think, or beginning of next year, whatever. The next 2 sets that are coming out are going to be, traditionally, those planes that those sets are going to be based on are very artifact centered. So I think this card is just going to keep getting better as the year progresses. Ward 2 on a 2/2 that just grows really quickly and easily. You can dodge Vanishing Burst because it's colorless, and there are plenty of good reasons why I'm absolutely in love with this little construct. Which brings us to our 3-drop slots, and that's kind of really where it ends, although we'll get to the Twinshot Sniper in a second, because most of the time we're just going to be using it for its channel ability. But the Runaway Trash-Bot is a sweet little budget card. Like I said, this is a budget episode. The only rares, and you can do away with them. I mean, of course, Den of the Bugbear and Sokenzan Crucibles are great. But you could just run a bunch of basics, and then the only rares in the deck would be your 3 copies of Ogre-Head Helm. Everything else is either common or uncommon. So really, really budget friendly, really quick, fast, fun games. But the Runaway Trash-Bot, kind of, again, similar to the Sticky Fingers, just went below my radar. I didn't really ever see this card until I had a look at some other content creators, and that gave me the idea for this deck. But Trample gets bigger. You could even just drop this on a chapter 2 of a Kumano that you've played a little bit later in the game, and then it comes into play as a 1/5, and then who knows what you've got in the yard by that point. And having a Trampler upon which you can put a Lizard Blades or just swing in is obviously freaking amazing, alongside your Patchwork Automaton. These are our 2 main closers. But final card in the deck, a full playset of the Twinshot Sniper. It's a 4-drop. But it is, that's not ridiculous. Of course, we can easily get to that in a deck, even though we're running much less lands because of the low average mana value that I touched upon earlier. But you'll be surprised the number of times that this will win you a game. If you top deck it, you can just go face with the 2 damage, and you can either just channel it for 2, discard it, so it makes your Trash-Bot bigger because it's in the yard, and you can just do damage to any target. So alongside the Voltage Surge, those are our 8 removal spells in the deck. But you can also just play it for 4 mana, enters the battlefield as an artifact, triggers your automaton, does all of that stuff, and then still does the 2 damage. And then you get a 2/3 reachy guy, which isn't terrible. You can block some bigger stuff that the opponent's coming through with. There's lots of angels in the format, of course. So yeah, kind of loving this guy. And definitely was a crucial part of me getting that 7-2 in the standard event with this deck. And that's it. That's the brew. We've got 2 dens, 2 Sokenzans, and 16 mountains, which brings our total lands only up to 20. But because, like I've said now a few times, the average is quite low, there is absolutely no problem casting every card in this deck on curve. So that's the deck. Trashifacts. Let's jump and do some games. Gonna be playing on Unranked tonight. A little bit of fun. Working on some more competitive stuff that I'll be showing you over the next couple of days. But because I spent the whole weekend watching the set championship and also had the troubles with my mic yesterday, I haven't had the chance to put the finishing touches on the more competitive decks that I've got lined up for you guys. So for now, we're just going to be having a little bit of unranked fun with this mono red hyper aggro, and if we're feeling good, We'll probably take it for a spin on the rank ladder towards the end of tonight's video, so stick around. Let's go for some damage. No automaton in the opening hand, unfortunately. It's kind of what you always want. Sometimes you might even want to mulligan down to find the automaton. But no such luck. I think what we're going to do here is use the sticky fingers. Just don't forget, if I do reconfigure this rabbit battery, the sticky fingers will leave the battlefield. So just be aware of that. It's not going to follow along with the equipment, because it's enchant creature, and then when you reconfigure, it becomes an equipment. So just be aware of that. I made that mistake in testing. Opponent isn't playing anything so far. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's totally fine. We get to draw an additional card. Okay, flooding out in a 20 land deck. Seems about right. Jetmir's got what's going on here? 5 color nonsense? Does he have a wandering emperor up his sleeve? It's probably quite likely. If he tries to exile something with the Emperor now, we'll just sacrifice whatever he targets and Voltage Surge. Nope. Maybe he considered these targets to be a little bit pathetic for an Emperor. Okay, I forget I said anything. We have no idea what's going on here. Some 5 color jank going on. Hey. I love me some jank. Nothing wrong with jank. Love me some jank. Get stuffed, man. How lame is that card, guys? What a stupid card. Like, honestly, just don't know what they were thinking. But hey, we got creature lands. It's all good. It's a bit much. I mean, 6 mana isn't even that hard to get to these days with all the treasures. It's quite strong, this, obviously. And exile. Whew. I guess, I've said it before as well. It's kind of signaling a shift in mono white, going away from aggro and becoming something a little bit more... Do we just keep swinging with the den? Looks like it's switching into something a little bit more mid-rangey. A little bit more... Oh, man. Difficult. Yeah, I think we do... Because then we can just sack that to the... you know, the less things are in the yard to the long reach of night is obviously good. Because when it does eventually flip... It'll flip into a thing that takes advantage. Wow, this is the randomest card. I mean deck, like, I have no idea what's going on here. Okay, so... Let's go something like... Opponent? Maybe Vanishing Verse or something? was thinking to just do this, right? Like, boom. Fine. Not a problem whatsoever. I have no idea what's going on here. That's the kind of the beauty of unranked. Like, what is this? Mr. Torloth here, bringing the jack. Like, what? This card sucks. Like, major. One of the worst rares, I think, from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Like, surprisingly terrible. Do you always have something at instant speed in your hand? Maybe it's another Eureka moment. I won't cast the sticky fingers on him now, or should I? I think we do. Give it menace. Then if he does kill the sniper, we can draw a card at least. Oh, for God's sakes. 5-color jank. Here we go. Oh no, I forgot. That was really dumb. That was really dumb. What can you do? At least we got him down to 3.
The future is written in oil and steel. You cannot delay our victory.
Why would you not go for the other one? Third Void Rend. Sure thing, buddy. Makes absolutely perfect sense, right? I think this one just slipped out of our hands. What we need is one more of those just need to overwhelm him with more threats than he has. Answers, basically. However, the Ward 2 at this point is pretty useless. Bit late to the party, Mr. Patchwork.
You do not write this story.
What in God's name? The randomness of this jank is making me confused. The hugest misplay there was playing the Trash-Bot. I forgot about the second chapter of the Cameo War. That was a huge mistake. I'm gonna try it. Madness is great here. Hopefully... Okay. He can't... He needs to block. Yeah, I think we got him, unless he's got some removal. You have to double block the etchings, and then the rest gets through. You got no creature lands. Gotcha. Okay, never mind. Get through for... one gets through. We get to draw a card. Doesn't really matter. Unbelievable. Freaking sky turtle. We're at the point in the game now where we just need we need a what's his name? The uncounterable Reachy boy. Oh, it's been exiled. What's his name? The Twinshot Sniper. You can just top deck a sniper and survive. We've got 20 life.
Such an imperfect form.
Yeah, that's not what we need. Will we have him this time? Six. I think we finally got you, mate. Oh, the grindiest of grindies. That was fun. That was fun. I like those where you have to like... It's down to like, you know, your creatures are clearly underpowered, but you've got them up against the wall on really low life, so they can't attack you back. Round 2, fight all. Inculcate. Perfection. I see Automaton, I see Kumano, I keep. Oh, the boredom of life gain decks in unranked. That's enough to drive anybody nuts. Oh, for God's sakes. I think I'm gonna just scoop, like right now, unless I top deck something that can get rid of that. Next turn, like, I'm gonna just insta-scoop. This is about as barf-tastic as it gets, like... I hope you have a lovely day, my friend. Goodbye, bye-bye. Like, just don't let them have fun, especially in unranked, just scoop, so that, you know, you can have more fun, and they can just sit through a loading screen. I'm not about to waste my time with 2 Voice of the Blessed on turn 3. Thank you very much. Pathetic nonsense. Falingor. Bit low on land there, mate. But we'll still keep it, because we're crazy. Thank you, deck, for the 0 lands. disgusting. What, you really gonna counter an Iron Apprentice? Mono blue. Not some... Oh, God. One land in the top 10 cards of your library. Happens all the time. No worries. Pfft, what a joke. What a joke. Okay, so counter spell maybe. Sure. Bouncy, freaking mono blue nonsense going on right now. Now the lands are flowing. Let's lead with something. Actually, no, look, whatever. You can counter this. He'll probably... no, okay. I think the water's being really good against this, if he's trying to do bouncy stuff. No counter spells in mono blue so far, even with 4 mana. Pretty interesting, to say the least. Automaton doing automaton things. Triggers. What's that? 10, 11, 12? That's game. Unless you got something up your sleeve that can deal with one of these patchworks, you're about as screwed gets, regardless of whether you count my ogre or not. Okay, something's coming. What is it? Just tap target creature and return to hand. Okay. Survive one more turn. You're gonna need a sweeper, a mono blue sweeper. Something along the lines of return everything to hand. You don't have that though. My dear Falingor. Oops. Sorry, mill deck. God, this card's stupid. That first game took so long. We're already 34 minutes in. I was hoping to do like a bunch of games with this mono red. Still a few of the playlines we have not had the chance to show off, namely the Trash-Bot getting in for some decent damage. Got bounced and discarded due to a misplay against War on game 1, and then we haven't had a chance to really use the Ogre-Head Helm at all to draw some cards, but trust me, it's clutch. comes into play. Like, I mean, yeah, that effect becomes relevant more often than you'd think with a deck like this. The boy who lived. Harry. Ooh, double patchwork, baby. I will not play my lizard blades because actually, yeah, who cares? It's fine. Let's play the lizard blades. We got other artifacts to play. A 1-drop would be great. At this point, I just want removal. Okay, we got the 1-drop. Now we just need one more mana. We can play the lizard blades and equip. Oh, we've got the mana from the Goldhound. He's probably got Fateful Absence. So is that what we're doing? Lizard blades, then equip, or double drop attack. Well, we can decide in a second. See if there's anything happening for 1 mana. No. Gonna exile the Goldhound and make the sash a bit bigger. Potentially, no? Okay, that's also fine. Can double drop next turn. Although he might have some removal now with this much mana for one of the automatons. He'll probably go for the one with the lizard blades on it. Alright. Stalwart Valkyrie. Not a card you see every day. Sorry, we outgrew your aspirant. Skadoosh. The only thing I'll do now is a Doomscar or something, which is probably quite terrifying, unfortunately. But Lizard Blaze will stick around. Gotcha! Hee. Fun and fast and effortless. And budget friendly. Those are a lot of good adjectives to throw at a brew. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. If you are, leave a like. And subscribe if you have not done so already. Rapidly approaching that 700 subscriber mark, at which point the first stage in my giveaways between now and 1000 will get triggered. So if you want to take part, you do need to be a subscriber. Help us get to that 1K by the end of the year. If sooner would be a heck of a lot better. I'm aiming for 1K by like July or something like that. That would be amazing. Then I can start to consider spending some money on upgrading some hardware here. I want to get a new microphone, a new camera, couple of things. In the hopes we get an automaton. Otherwise, I probably would have just gone with the Ogre-Head Helm. But we might draw an automaton next turn, in which case... winning. Rule, huh? I'll take that extra land, thank you. It's kind of nice of you, my friend. Let's draw some cards. With an empty hand, it's really quite nice. Booyakasha. Not the best, honestly, but still. Finally, we got to show off the Ogre-Head Helm doing its thing. Is it like werewolves or just gruel good stuff? Gold spans and things? Yeah, probably gonna be gold spans and things. Probably just swing with the den. Okay, now let's go like full bonkers with the sticky fingers here. Now how the auto tapper was actually gonna sacrifice the Goldhound there to activate the den, it just drives me insane. Like, why would you do that? Mind-boggling stuff. Yes. Bye-bye, Innkeeper. No life gain for you, please. We'll use this mana to equip an additional sticky fingers on our little 1/1 here. Trash-Bot now would be nice off the top. Would come into play as a 4/4 trample for 3 mana. Not bad. There he is. I had a feeling we'd be seeing you, my friend. Oh, does it get any better than that? He may have Tamio's safekeeping here. Would be pretty horrific. Boom. May as well. Where's our big stuff? Like, we've just drawn 1-drops, like, pretty much. I mean, the big stuff. Where's our automatons and things? And I'd love to see a Trash-Bot for once in these games, like, actually hit the board. Okay. They enter the battlefield tapped, so I'm not really too worried about anything crazy happening. We've got him. Just straight up. Three, 4, 5, 6. Okay, no, sorry. 1 damage less, short of the required amount. Yeah, boy. Getting through a gold span like and stuff like that just with like 1-drops is just so fun. Oh, yeah. Mono red's in a pretty nice place. We still need to make a deck around Urabrask. I've got one in the cards. Actually, you know what? Bonus extra footage. For those of you who are, you know, good enough to stick with me to the end of the videos, let's play some Automabrask. The decks are just so similar, I didn't know which one to go for, and this one needs a bit of work, but I've just stuck a full playset of Urabrask at the top end of what is essentially just a mono-red kind of modified deck, and it's been doing the thing. Because there's many ways that you can play this card. The most obvious one that first jumps at you is like, you're going to get some card advantage. And in a red deck with lots of cheap threats to deploy, essentially getting an additional draw, even though one's in exile, and then you also get to draw, and then potentially also stalling your opponent by having them only getting to exile the top card of their library and, you know, potentially not being able to cast it, and that's all they get to do as far as drawing, unless they have, you know, cards that draw cards. Then that's like pretty good, right? And in this deck, it's our main source of card advantage. We do have Reinforced Ronin that we can channel and discard and draw a card. But otherwise, we don't have the Ogre-Head Helm in this deck. We do have Ancestral Anger in here, which draws you a card. I mean, this is actually a really sweet brew. I just kind of wanting to showcase Urabrask a little bit before I make a better deck around it. There's some work that needs to be done here, but and you know, completing my point on Urabrask, that's just one way of playing it. You know, where, oh yeah, cool, we've got cheap threats in a mono red like hasty deck, and we can essentially just get an additional card every turn from the top of our library. But it could also be played in a sort of pseudo prison deck, something alongside maybe playing like we could go for, what would it be, white, blue, red. So Jeskai prison with the other Praetor whose name escapes me now, Jin-Gitaxias, maybe the Archon of Emeria plus Urabrask. Opponent only gets to cast one card each turn. Whatever he casts gets countered by the Jin-Gitaxias, and you know, they can only play one card a turn because of the Archon of Emeria. I think those three together would make for a crazy prison deck. So we might have to do something along those lines, and you know, definitely more things that can be done with Urabrask. But for now, let me just show you one quick match with this before we end tonight's video. We've got Ancestral Anger to give the Automaton trample. The more of these that are in your yard, the more you know, the more the X is. So it gets plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is 1 plus the number of cards named Ancestral Anger in your graveyard. And you also get to draw a card. So really nice little 1-mana sorcery there. And you would want to have a full playset of them, because, you know, the more they're in your yard, the better the next ones you draw get. And it's a great top deck off of the Urabrask. And we got the Goldhound again, kind of just helping us ramp into our later game plays. Because even though we have some 5-drops, I've gone down to 20 lands in this one too. We do have 4 copies of Spikefield Hazard. That brings it back up to 24 with the MDFCs. Reinforced Ronin, cheap hasty guy in the beginning, and it's constantly recurring artifact that's going to help us grow Automaton, because there's a lot less artifacts in this deck. It's just the Goldhound, the Ronin, the Lizard Blades that are going to grow the Automaton. Everything else is either interaction or non-artifact creatures, Thundering Raiju and Urabrask. But you know, it's kind of a fusion of the previous deck with the artifacts, and then mono red modified hasty guys coming together. It's also been quite nice. We've gone up 1 den, so you know, 3 dens, they're really good. And Heated Debate, really good right now against the Rafine. You don't have to pay the ward, and it does 4 damage, uncounterable. You can get through to the Righteous Valkyrie, Goldspan Dragon, Rafine, just so many things Heated Debate hits on right now. I'm loving this removal. Cammy's Flare, because we got the modified little sub-theme going for that little bit of extra reach. Spikefield Hazard, just for 1 damage, can also go face with it. Really, really nice. Everything, you know, from our 2 drops onwards has haste, and then Urabrask here at the top end just to, you know, draw us an additional card and have a... And I think actually, like, even though it's legendary, 4 of is pretty good. People freak out when they see it hit the board because it's new and ooh, and of course it's an annoying effect on their top deck when they draw a card, so it becomes a removal target, and it's doesn't dodge anything. It doesn't have flying, nothing, and it, you know, Vanishing Verse hits it. It's really quite easy to remove, so they usually remove it. So having more than 3 or 2 copies in the deck, I think, is actually kind of the way to go about things. But anyway, I've done rambling about Urabrask. Let's jump into one final game for tonight, and then we shall call it. How are we doing for time? Ooh, we've gone a little late, but that's okay. I'll throw the deck list to this bonus brew down in the description for you guys, as well as the Trash-Bot's Trashy Artifacts brew. Autopiano. Shuffler is just fine. No, I'm not going to keep that, man. Ah, that's way better. That's millions of times better. Ronin into Patchwork, and we're off to the races. What do we discard, though? The Goldhound? Probably. Just finished watching the new Batman with, what's his face? Every 16-year-old girl's heartthrob from the stupid vampire books from a few years back. Anyway. Real nice camera work, filming, everything. I love the film noir style of it and everything, but the storyline was a bit meh. You guys watch the new Batman? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I wasn't that impressed, honestly. Black. Black is bad. Black means removal. But the ward is our friend right now. No Blood Chief's thirsts, my friend. Sorry. I'd love for you to try. And scoop. But no, we want a full game out of this because it's the last match of the night, so let's try and not get the opponent to scoop too soon. Aha! Okay. Hello. Our new friend here, the Phyrexian Praetor. Epic art though. Simon Dominic. I like. Even if you just do the blood tithe thing, you still need to pay the ward, so good luck with that, my friend. Oh, Jandi boys. That's definitely a Cammy's Flare target right there. 150 million%. Bye-bye. We can be patient. We can wait. Cerulf would have been a real pain in my butt. That's one way of getting rid of these without paying the ward that we cannot afford to leave on the battlefield. Nituk Massacre now would deal with the one, not the other. Whoops! Alright, what now, mate? Ah. Sorry. Damn it. Oh, guys, we don't have time to go longer. I really wanted to cast Urabrask there, but that's going to have to be it for tonight's gameplay footage. We'll probably, if you want to see a full video on this bonus brew, please let me know in the comments and I will bring it to you in the next couple of days. But that's going to be it for tonight's gameplay footage. Thank you all so much for watching. Jumping back into the Trashy-Bots, which is the main deck of tonight, with my final thoughts. Really nice, really fun, really quick. Like I said, many adjectives can be thrown at this deck that are good. You know, quick games, fun, explosive, you know, cheap, budget friendly, you name it. And I really like this Ogre-Head Helm. I like the Trash-Bot. I would love to, you know, have my community playtest with this one a little bit and let me know what they think and how their performances go. Like I said, I did get a play-in point here from playing my first standard event and getting all the way to 7 with this brew. With the only difference being I had a full playset of the Ogre-Head Helms and I just threw in a Lizard Blade. So definitely doing the trick. No adjustments, no modifications need to be made. I'm going to leave it exactly as that. Guys, don't forget to join the Discord community. I'll leave a link in the video description every time from now on, and I'll also pin a comment as the top comment. Come join us on the BrewLab Discord community. Don't forget also to subscribe, leave a like, and I will see you all tomorrow with some fresh brews. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.